Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Make 2024 Count, Make Your Life Count webinar series. To the glory of God, we have Lilyugbaja in the house, and it's such a pleasure to host her in this webinar series. And I just want to do a short intro. She's already on, so we can delve proper into the conversation. Now, Lily is a content marketing manager who consults for high-profile clients like WordPress, HubSpot, WordPress.com. Let me just make that distinction, and then HubSpot, and then Zapier. And you know what surprises me about her is that she's a mother of five, just like I am. And I'm like always wondering how she's able to juggle all she's got to do alongside her professional calling. And so we'll be delving a lot into her story today. Like I told her before we got on, I said I prefer a more informal conversation so we can delve into her mindset, story, and inspire people who are also on this journey, people who are almost giving up on this journey. And so if you are on this call, I want you to I want you to know you are warmly, warmly welcome. And like I always say, we are big on community in House of Wisdom because we know the power of community. And so let us know where you are watching from. Let us give you a warm virtual hug. Thank you so much for joining. And so, Lily, let's kick off by asking, how exactly did your journey into content writing and consulting for SaaS brands start?
So I feel like I've answered this question so many times, and it's beginning to feel boring to the people who would listen. It feels like I'm saying, the same old boring story. Anyway, I it's new to me every day. It's wonderful to me every day because I didn't set out to be a marketer. In fact, I was really appalled by the word marketer before I started. Like, because in my mind, I had this idea that marketers were the bankers who would go from door to door, cold sales, right? Can you hear me? Because it feels like I'm
I
frozen.
can perfectly.
Okay. So that was what I thought marketing was, wear hot suits inside hot sun, carry briefcase. They walk up and down, they find who will open accounts. So for me, how I finally came into this profession that I completely disliked was when I got pregnant with my first child, right? And I was looking for stuff that I could do from home because I didn't want to go to work and put him in school. Just to, like, how our jobs are now. You go out and work. How much are you earning? And then I don't get to spend time with my child at the same time. So I started looking for stuff that I could do online. Mind you, it wasn't the first time. It was like 10 years ago, I had gone through this whole phase of, oh, I want to work online, I want to be flexible and all that. But I gave up after looking through Elance or it no longer exists now, one freelancer network like that. So, but this time around, I had a strong why. My why was that I wanted to be home with my child and still earn enough money to do whatever I wanted to do. So I started looking for things that I could do when I was at home and still earn money. And that was how I stumbled on blogging. The old blogs where you type stuff and post them on Facebook or Pinterest and whatnot, and people rush to your site and you earn a lot of money from advertisements and sponsorships. So I started doing that. But you know how easy it usually sounds, and then the practical is like tough.
Yeah.
So when I started my first blog, it wasn't what I expected, but I would say that I was still lucky to an extent because what brought me into marketing completely was that first blog got to a point where one post that I'd written kind of went mini viral and my server crashed because I was using a shared hosting from a Nigerian reseller. Nigerian hosting sellers now, they buy from resellers and they sell. So you probably have like very small space. And so my server crashed. And I realized that I need to raise how much? for hosting, for premium hosting, if I'm going to make this thing work. And I can't remember if I started pitching to blogs in the parenting space or if they reached out. I feel like at that point I must have reached out to some people. Because I remember there was a time when I was writing product review blogs about parenting stuff and household stuff. I can't remember how I found the person or how he found me, but I feel like I searched and found those people and pitched. I also wrote for babygaga.com. It's like this mom gossip site. And they were saying like $20 per article. And then if your article went viral, there was a share, a profit sharing thing by the number of thousand views it gets, right? So I did that, raised enough money to buy hosting. But during that process, I had learned about not just blogging and writing about my passion, but about marketing, the marketing side of it, like pushing it and making sure that people actually find it. So I started a new blog. I didn't go back to the first one. I started a new blog with the newfound knowledge that I had. And that one did well. From the first month, I was already making some money. And then that was the one that had companies in the SaaS space start reaching out to me to write for them. So I don't know how they would. Oh, okay, yeah. I remember now. I had guest posted to promote that blog on a topic that was like similar to what I was writing on a bigger site. And then a SaaS company saw the guest post I had written and reached out to me. So that's the long story long, not long story short.
Awesome. It's interesting to know how you actually got into this space. And so, based on what you just shared, will you encourage newbies who are just coming into the industry to take up guest posting
Yeah,
as
I
a way
will.
to get
Yes.
noticed?
Yes, I will.
Awesome.
I will, but with the caveat, like it's not. You have to be really strategic about it because you could write like several guest posts and get nothing out of it. For my career, I only had to write 2 guest posts. One,
Wow.
the blogger that I talked about, the one where I wrote on and people reached out, was like very big.
Hmm.
I couldn't access him. So what I did was I found a smaller blog that I could access, and everybody likes backlinks. So from that smaller blog that I could access, I took a quote, like a secondary quote. I didn't get a direct quote from this blogger from the bigger blogger because I knew I could never like had gotten his attention. So I took a quote from one of the articles he had on his blog, and I quoted it in the article on the smaller blog. And when that article went live, the one on the smaller blog went live, I didn't do it with just him. I did it with like 9 other big sites, people I wanted to get their attention, right? So when that small blog went live, I emailed all those 9 people and like, you've got a backlink from so and so. Now when you see a subject line like that as a content marketer or as a blogger or whatever, that's like saying, please, I want to give you like $100,000 or some amount of money that makes sense, because backlinks are currency in content marketing world.
Yeah.
So almost all of them opened those emails. From there, I got friends. From there, I got my second guest posting opportunity, and I didn't need a third one. From there, I got a mentor two mentors actually, who practically like put me on the path for success. So yeah, guest post, but do it strategically.
Awesome, awesome. I love what you just said. Be strategic about it. It's not just about posting content all over and not being strategic. Now, I
Yeah.
want to ask, how then did you get into animals? Because I know you started on your own as a solo business person, and then how did the journey into animals come in? I'm wondering.
So naturally, I actually never wanted to have a job. I'm crazy like that, right? So I was okay working on my own. But as my freelance writing business grew, I started exploring the agency routes. I started thinking, oh, do I want to build an agency? Does it align with my values, my goal? Do I want to scale into one? Is it going to be hectic? Is it going to be more money but more trouble? You get, and I don't like managing people. So I started thinking, what if I go into an agency and see how things are run from inside to decide for myself, right? But it was just a passing thought until one day I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw a Nigerian girl, Stella, Inabo, post her. I'm not sorry, Stella, if I murdered your surname. And she tweeted about how she had gotten her dream job. And it was a company in New York and it was an agency. And I started digging and I found out that, oh, this agency is like one of the best agencies in the world. And I'm someone that likes a challenge. It was already proven that, oh, they can accept Nigerians. And then I heard that, oh, this is where all the best people are. Also, I had, sorry, this is like a side note. I had issues with imposter syndrome, like real issues. I feel like anybody who comes from a freelance environment struggles with this because there's no, you need validation, even though you don't really need it, but like it feels like you need several time after time validation from people who don't really need to validate you. So like colleagues, seniors at work, and just the validation that you're on payroll from month to month without being fired means you're doing your job right. Right. And even though my clients would tell me, oh, you're great, and oh, this is like the best thing I've gotten from a writer, or I had high praise from people like Ross Simmons said, right? But I still didn't have that. A part of me was like, sometimes if it's like a new client, I'll be like, are you sure they even know what good content looks like? Maybe they don't know. That's why they think this is good. If it's from someone who I respect, I'll be like, they're just trying not to hurt my feelings. That's why they're saying this. You get like I had this little voice in my head that was always trying to say that what they said is not true, right? So that and wanting to see how good I really was, wanting to prove to myself that I could, if a Nigerian could get in there, I could definitely get in there, and wanting to see how the agency system works was how I applied to animals.
Awesome, awesome. So I know you did a very scary pivot recently, and because I follow your post, I know that you were like, no, I want to manage now. I no longer want to be in the trenches writing. How was it like for you? I'm trying to see how you were able to summon the courage to do that, because most writers won't be able to, because we are stuck in this state of let me write. It's already bringing ruffle the feathers or something like that.
Yeah, it was scary for me, right? Not sorry, excuse me, 1 second. Not because um not because I didn't want to manage people. Sorry, I lost my line of thought. The 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 pivot wasn't as scary. That's what I wanted to say. It wasn't as scary for me, even though I do not like managing people, because I had gotten to a point in my career where I could only afford little pockets of time at a time. And you know how writing is. You need intense concentration for hours at a stretch to be able to be productive. And I'd gotten to a point where I felt like I was no longer delivering my best work as a writer. In fact, I had become so burnt out that I felt like I don't want to write another piece ever again. I just published a blog post yesterday, which is like the first piece I've written in over a year. And preceding that,
Wow.
the piece I had written was like my newsletter piece. There was another long stretch. Like I'm just coming back from the place where when I see a content brief or a keyword or a topic or whatever, I'm like, I don't want to touch it. Like I was so burnt out. So it was like the only option I had. The second thing was when I do execution for clients, some of them don't have good strategy in place. I pivoted first to strategy only. There was no management in it. Strategy only was the pivot I made. Then I noticed you'd create strategy for clients. They'd be like, "Oh wow, wonderful! This looks very good. We're going to smash it with this strategy." 2 months, nothing is up. 3 months, nothing is up. 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. They weren't executing, they weren't implementing. So I was like, I don't want to just take people's money. I want to actually see them use this thing that we've done and get results. So I'm going to have to roll up my sleeves and do this thing that I don't like to do. And that was how I came into management. But a major focus of my management, if you ask the writers who work with me, I'm very, very flexible with deadlines and stuff like that. The major part of my management is on the editing side. So it's like coaching the writers and editing their work, and that also, I guess that's also like a reward, because I love to teach. Not all the time, but I do love to teach.
And that probably explains why you agreed to do this. And I also want to welcome Balogu Emmanuel. You said noted, Ma. Thank you for joining us. Damilare Ola Sinde, you said you're watching from Oshogbo, Nigeria. Lily already said hi to you. Thank you for joining. We love you. And if you are still on this live stream and you're yet to introduce yourself, please go ahead. Let's know you. We want to give you a warm virtual hug. And so, back to our discussion. Uh, do you think, because I come from a background where I had to do cold emails to start my freelance writing business. But I have read your story. I know your trajectory to an extent, and I know you didn't really have to go through that route. Do you think that the average freelance writer can grow their freelance writing business without cold emails and pushy sales techniques?
The average freelance writer, that's very tricky. I think anyone can, but you need to have time on your side, because it doesn't happen in a day. You could come out today and send 20 cold emails and maybe land one client tomorrow. So in your first month, you already landed the clients, right? I mean, I passed through this cold pitching phase. It's just that I don't remember it, because it wasn't really my strategy. It was more like I urgently need money for my hosting, right? To go through the build your personal brand, share your results and whatever routes, you need time, and you also need to invest in content for yourself. So you should be able to give it at least 3 months of showing up every day. I think LinkedIn makes things easier now. I didn't When I started out, funny enough, I didn't start with LinkedIn. All I had was my blog and the guest posting thing I did. But I feel like, I feel like you can actually get it done in a month without cold emails. It would be more like warm emails, but you're not actually selling your services in those emails. You're just more like exposing your services to the people that you're emailing. Let me give you an instance. That guest posting thing I talked about, the big blog that I ended up guest posting on, the owner of that blog wanted to hire me after my first piece with them.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And why it happened is, I feel like by sharing the guest post, the first one and the second one, he automatically saw what I was capable of, right? And he saw the added value of having her guest post, because when she writes for us, rather, she may reach out to other people that she has quoted in this piece, and that's more publicity for the piece. So like there were little value adds that they could see on their own that I had exposed them to. So is it doable for the average writer? I don't know what the average writer's expectation would be, but if you have 3 months, 3 months is very decent to start growing without cold emails or sales.
Awesome, awesome. I love that. And so for someone who says, okay, I want to go the guest posting route, what mistakes do you think newbies make when they are trying to guest post? Do you think we make any mistakes as newbies?
I I'm sure there are a lot of mistakes I'm thinking right now, because you know what I'm thinking is because I didn't do it for long. I only, like I said, I only did 2 to 3 guest posts. I feel like
Yeah.
one of the mistakes people make is seeing this large publication that it feels like everybody reads this, but you forget that the readers are not your target audience.
Hmm.
Another mistake would be guest posting on a site that is too accessible. Like everybody's guest posting there, so I want to guest post there too. It gives you little chance to be
Hmm.
noticed. I mean, sometimes those kind of sites feel like a dumping ground for everybody, and the quality control may be low, so they may not even have any readers. I think the smart thing to do would be to first of all decide your niche, figure out who the readers for a site are. If you're trying to gain uh clients directly from the guest post, figure out who the readers of that uh website would be. Then the actual piece that you're writing, does it make sense, or is it a list of 20 lessons I learned when I turned 20? Like, is it something that your ideal clients could see on their own blog? Is it something that, oh, I can see this happening on my own site and I'd love this writer to replicate it for us? Or is it just some flowery poetry? I think those are some mistakes that come to mind easily.
Awesome, awesome. And so quality content matters a lot if you want to guest post and guest post successfully. I like that. Now, I want to ask, what role did mindset play for you? Because somebody is watching this live stream now and is like, what role for you to be able to boldly, put yourself out there that I can do this? What role I'm trying to understand how your mind worked at that point and even now.
I think mindset was a very big, very, very big part of it. Somehow, people talk about their experiences with racism in the system and all that, but I don't remember having any of those experiences. If anything, I feel like it's happening now more than earlier in my career, probably because I couldn't see black and white. All I saw were humans. Like, if you can do it, you don't have to.
I
I can do it too. So for me, then I wasn't saying, "Oh, I'm a black writer from Nigeria." All I saw was writers, writer. Mindset was a big, big, big deal. And I'm also very competitive. Like, I want to know, is that the right way to say it? Sometimes I wonder if I'm a writer. The English word they blow. So always want to see, I want to push myself and see if I can actually win something that someone else has won. Not because I'm trying to compete with the other person, just because I want to know what's my skill level actually. So yeah, I believed that
awesome, awesome.
I believed that I could have been the best, the biggest and the bestest and the everything.
And so if you're watching us and you're a newbie in this space, mindset, very, very important. Believe in yourself, believe in yourself. Now, Lily, I want to ask about skills development. Skills development. How committed were you to developing your skills in this business?
You know what I said about always wanting to be the best. Where it showed up was in the hours I would put into refining my skills and trying to develop. Like, I someone said to me recently, was she was like, you do a lot of work, and I was like, I don't really do a lot of work. I just make whatever I do count as much as possible. So like
Hmm.
I'm even slacking now. In the beginning, I always went like the extra mile. I tried to do whatever I could to make sure that the work that I did wasn't replicable. And to do that, I had to upskill because no one is waiting for you to be like on the same level. I had to constantly upskill. I remember taking 1 full month to write a piece, an article
Wow.
for Ross Simmons. And I I feel like that piece, the pay was 1,500. I took 1 full month to write the article, and I feel like that piece kind of changed the trajectory of my career. Ross
Wow.
just gave me free rent. Do whatever you want to do with this. And so I took my time and I was researching. My benchmark then for when a piece was done is, would anyone reading this, no matter how advanced they are, would they learn something new from this? That was like the benchmark. And so what it did was it pushed me to start learning how to research, to find things that, even the most advanced users didn't know. So I would start Googling things like how to filter Google searches to find so and so something. It made me become
Yes.
very skilled with Google. And I started learning how to use YouTube for research as well. Like I was pushing myself to learn every day.
Awesome, awesome. I love that. And so skills acquisitions, upskilling, very important in this business. You cannot remain on the same spot. You have to constantly upgrade your skills. Very, very important. Thank you so much for joining us, Samuel Ekele. You said good morning, fam. I'm joining from Warri, Delta State. You are welcome. And Damlare Lasinde says, Lily, you are going to love Carl Newport's soon to be released book. And Lily is already responding, what's the title? And so you can let us have the title in the chat. Thank you for keeping this conversation interactive. And if you've got questions, please type them in the chat box so we can deal with them before Lily leaves, because I know she's a busy person. That she committed to this shows that she believes in empowering the upcoming. And I'm so glad she could make it. Okay, and if you are on this live stream and you're yet to subscribe, please subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. I want you to know we've got loads of interviews coming up, and you can be notified when you are a member of this community. And so hit the subscribe button and become a part of us. Okay. And so, Lily, I wanted to ask, because I never cease to be amazed. There was this time when you started YouTube videos, and I was like, in my head, I never said it to you. How does she combine all these stuff? Doing this, being a mother of 5, and I have kids that are grown, but I know your own, they still need some sort of attention. And I'm like, how does she juggle? How do you do that? Can you let us into that part of your life?
I would love to claim superwoman and say that I do it all by myself, but no. I for the past 3 to 4 years, I've had a nanny, so that's like a big part of it, right? We recently let go of our last nanny though, so I'm doing everything myself now. But in the beginning, when I couldn't afford to hire anybody, I worked at night mostly.
Okay. Can you hear
Hi,
me?
can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you.
Can. Perfectly. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so I was just saying I did most of my work at night then, when the kids were sleeping, when the kids were at school. I remember when I was working with this client who he would send me briefs by 10 a.m. and he wanted them back by 4. So I had like my child got home from school by 1
Wow.
p.m. every day. So I had like 10 to 1 to get anything done because once he's back. So that was what I did. I would try my best to like do research at night with my phone. I suffered the consequences though, because I have these issues with my hands now. Can you hear me? Hi. Hello?
I can perfectly. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I'm saying that
Hey, you go
I'm
ahead,
still
please.
I'm still
I
suffering the
can hear you. Go
consequences of
ahead.
some of the things that I did, because now I have this finger thing. If it wasn't hot here, you'd see me wearing gloves. If I'm typing, you see me wearing gloves because I have repetitive strain injury now. Because then what I used to do is when I have my baby here, I would lay down, hold up my phone, and use it for any research so that I could compile whatever I had to compile within the few short hours I had during the day. So I guess it's more like finding when you're most productive, when you have less distractions, when when it feels like your brain is at its peak, and also having a why. I feel like that was the most important thing. Do you want to really do it? Like, is there something pushing you to do it that is really important to you? That is like the biggest fire you can have.
Awesome. I love your talking about why, because I've seen so many people start journeys that they quit midway because they don't have a strong why. And so we all need a strong why. This thing you want to do, this freelance writing business you want to build, do you have a strong why for it? Because let me not lie to you, there will be challenges, just like you just shared. Imagine getting a brief by 10 a.m. and being asked to submit by 1 p.m. That's if the why is not strong, you will just put it aside and say, no, I'm not doing this. Yes. And so you also need to have a strong why. And for you, your why was, I got to make this work for my kids. I got to make this work for my family. Very, very important. And so whatever it is you want to do, have a strong why. Okay. So I also wanted to talk about clients. Have you ever had to deal with a toxic client, and how did you handle the situation?
The one toxic client I can remember right now was someone who didn't really know what he wanted, tried to cut. So I have this list, my rate sheet, where everything that I do is listed, and I'm like, okay, in inside of this amount that I'm quoting, it covers research, it covers this, it covers that, it covers that. And the client was like, okay, can you just give me the writing? I'll do all this, all this, all this. And can you give me the writing at this amount? And I'm like, bros, that's not how it works now. That client ended up being like really difficult to manage. He would you know what's funny is that most of the people who end up being toxic clients are like really nice. So they're not, you'd expect them to be like swearing at you, cursing at you all the time and all that. But they're usually the ones that are really nice. They talk very softly, they use polite words, but they're always trying to cross boundaries. What I do is I often, very often remind them, oh, this is the agreement that we have. And remember, in fact, I started proactively reminding them. When I send an email, I'll be like, oh, remember that I'm out for the weekend, or remember that I'm going out during this period. If it's anything really urgent, you can email me at so and so place. And if I open your email and it's something that is not urgent, I will not answer you during that period. Like I had to enforce like really strong boundaries with them. Please let me know if the static is from my end, because I can hear my inverter beeping.
It's from your end. It's cool here,
And
but we can hear you
okay,
clear. Yeah.
I could
And
just
so,
switch
and
to just my laptop if
oh,
that's
it's okay.
okay.
And so while you're doing that, I want to read a few comments that have come in. And so Lily says, what's the title to Damilare? And Damilare, low productivity. And Lily says, I love it already. Aha. Thanks for recommending. And so Damilare comes back to say, Damilare Olasin, they come back to say, to write an article too. I'm super obsessed with quality, and it's one of the core principles of the book. I'll share the pre-order link on LinkedIn. Great. So Samuel Ekele comes back to say, committed to upskilling, self-coach, and I am empowered. Thank you for the comments, Amelekele. And Damilare Olasinde comes back to say, but combining the intensity of writing at night versus there's a bit of static noise. Okay, great. That's what she's trying to deal with. And then Samuel Ekele says, Dr. Miles Monroe said it. Do it after 5. Wow, I love that quote. I love it because I'm a strong follower of Miles Monroe. I listen to his messages. I've read some of his books, not all, and I particularly like that one in which he talked about the keys to dying empty. You know, he said in that book that we are all here for a reason, and we shall strive to die empty. Don't go to the grave with that talent God has given you. And I believe that is what the Make 2024 Count webinar series is all about. It's all about making your life count. It's all about making your talent count. It's more about impacting your generation with what God has deposited within you, just as Lily is doing, to the glory of God. And so I really love Miles Monroe. I love his teachings. I love his messages. And thank you so much for sharing, Samuel Ekele. And if you're on this call, you've not introduced yourself, or you're watching the replay, let's know where you're watching us from. We want to give you a warm virtual hug. Like you already know, House of Wisdom is big on community, and this is my impact stream. I've got an income stream and I've got an impact stream, and this is my impact stream. I've got another, my income stream is on writing too. And so I believe that we all have something to offer the world if we dig deep enough, right? And we are so glad that you could make it in spite of all the other engagements that you have. You could commit to being with us for this conversation. And if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, please hit the subscribe button, because we've got so many conversations coming your way. By the grace of the Almighty, we want this webinar series to go on for as long as we have people who will commit to talking to us, so that in 2025, when we do the Make 2025 Count webinar series, you will be one of the people to testify, to say, yes, I was part of Make 2024 Count webinar series, and this is what I was able to make out of my life. I believe that will be your portion. I believe that will be your testimony, you that is following. And so thank you so much. Samuel Ekele comes back to say, is committed to why, like teaching that education and wisdom about money are important. Yeah, thank you for the comment while we still wait for Lily to get back onto the stage, and we can continue the conversation and probably end it, because I know she's quite busy and she will have some other stuff to do, right? Okay, so I wanted to also address the issue of freelance writing. If you want to start it, like she said, you gotta have a strong why. Like when I started, I also had a strong why. The why was so strong that I would stay midnight. She talked about night. I also worked in the night at the beginning, because I used to have a day job then, and so I would go to that day job in the morning, and in the evening I'll face this, and I was pitching like crazy, as in I was doing cold emails, a lot of them. And so I also want to encourage you, just as Lily has said, when she started, her mindset was, I am a damn good writer. I am not black, I'm not white. And so you also take charge of your mindset. Don't allow your mindset to tell you, I'm black, I might not be able to fit in. They won't be able to take me in. You can't do it. If Lily has done it, you can also do it. All of us can do it, as long as you got a strong why and you remain committed to your goal, you remain committed to your dreams, because life is serious. Like I always tell people, I always quote this, there's this quote that says, life is not a dress rehearsal. This is the reality. This is the real life. We don't have two shots at life. It's only one. And so make this life count. And this webinar is part of the instruments through which we want to empower you to make this year count. Because like I always said, and I've always said at the beginning of this Make 2024 Count webinar series, 2024 is not going to be like a year like any other. It's going to be a year in which we walk in the reality of our dreams. We walk in the reality of our goals. We touch them, as in they become tangible. They are no longer in our head. They become tangible. And all people see it, that yes, he committed to doing this and he's able to do it. Okay, let me get her in. She's back. Okay, so let me get Lily back to the stage. Okay, so thank
Hi,
you so
I'm
much for
so
joining
so
back.
sorry. I'm sorry. There was I was actually in, but my sound wasn't coming through and my video wasn't coming through as well.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah,
So what
so
did I miss?
yes, I was gonna ask, what's your take on AI for writing?
Um, so the kind of writing that I do is not something that AI can easily replicate. AI can help a lot, like a lot. I have it open almost every time when I write or edit work now. It's for things like what's a better synonym for so so and so word? What's an analogy to use in explaining so so and so point? I'm trying to say so so and so thing. What's a clearer way to say it? Like it's for the it's a natural language processing tool, right? So what it does is that it uses things that are already understood about language to like, so it can't have like original stuff, but it can help you with things that you don't need any original insights on. And so that's what I use AI for. I use AI to help speed up my work, but I don't outsource the thinking to it.
Awesome. I love what you just said, because there was some sort of panic in the industry by people who said, yeah, it's taking over. Freelance writers will no longer get jobs and stuff like that. And thank you for explaining how you use it. It's not useless. We can use it, but we cannot outsource our thinking to AI. Very important. And you've been saying something, and I want to dwell on that in a bit. You said you create content that cannot be replicated. Because someone is watching now and is like, Lily has said yes, there was a time she earned 1 5 for one post. And we need to explain to such people that it's not content that you can easily find everywhere. It has to be standard, it has to be quality, it has to be unique. It should not be, people shouldn't be able to replicate it. Can you
Yeah.
speak to that in a bit, please?
So I think that for me, when I say 1005 per article, that was like years ago, right? I just wanted to chip that in to make sure that people know what the potential is. The potential is twice that, whatever you want it to be is what the potential is. As long as you have something that only you or like a few people can do, the client who wants it will pay for it, right? Now to do that is one to get rid of shortcuts. Like I just want to write this piece fast and just get it submitted. Fast writing is important, but you need to go through the process in order to achieve unique writing. You need to go through the process of one, who is this person that I'm writing for, right? What is it that they already know? You need to like get into that the audience's shoe, know exactly where they are in their journey, know exactly what prompted this search, what they were thinking about yesterday. So you're asking questions like who is the audience? What do they know? What is it that they want to know based on this topic? What is something that they should know that they're not even thinking about right now? So those three, four questions are like the foundation for everything. Once you have that figured out, the next question you need to ask yourself is based on what this audience needs to know, based on what this article needs to say. Do I have enough knowledge to write it? If the answer is no, then you're going to go out there and start looking for SMEs who have talked about this, maybe on YouTube videos or podcasts, or see if you can connect one on one with an SME to like ask them questions and get to understand this topic in and out. Like now you have beginner to advanced knowledge of it. Like you're in the shoe of the reader who's trying to learn, but you also know what the expert knows, right? And then you start drafting your piece based on that research.
Awesome. I love your talking about getting into the shoes of the audience. Very important, because if you must write content that will resonate with them, you must be able to put yourself in their shoes. And I love that you mentioned SMEs, and then also researching via podcasts and even YouTube
And
videos.
even
Google is not enough.
doing experiments yourself. Like there are things where you have to like walk through that shoe yourself. And you doing those experiments, one thing why I feel like it has a leg up compared to speaking with SMEs, for example, is you know what they call the course of knowledge. You've been through something, you're an expert at it, and you've forgotten that there were times when you tried to, let's say you're trying to plug a light bulb now. You've forgotten that there was a time when you touched the light bulb and it shocked you. You've forgotten all of that. But like doing an experiment yourself during the process of the writing, you're able to show those little things that happened during the period that even an SME has forgotten.
Hmm. Wow, I love that bit on doing experiments yourself, because then it puts you exactly in their shoes and you can speak their language, you can talk about their pain, you can solve their problems with your content. Very powerful. Thank you for your comments, Samuel Ekele. He says, like empathy, just like empathizing with your audience, right?
Yeah, that's part of it. That's a huge part of it.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I wanted to we are about closing shop because I know you want to run off. What role did mentorship play in your journey? And would you advise a new person coming into this space to get mentorship?
So for me, I feel like community may have played a bigger role than mentorship, but maybe because I don't know. Mentorship is important. Finding the right mentor is important. Knowing the right questions to ask is important. I feel like everyone should merge them with community because it's through community that you'd be able to know, oh, this is what I should be asking my mentor. This is what I should be looking for in a mentor. Someone could look like they are successful on LinkedIn, right? But they don't really know how to do the work, and you're learning from the wrong place. For me, the first mentor that I had was he was like a mentor, but in the blogging space. And in that space, he really helped me because before then, I was more focused on Pinterest and Facebook. But he was the one who kind of like introduced me to SEO, even though I had to like figure out a lot of things on my own. Not because I can't really answer this question as well as I would want to because the person that I was when I was starting out was the person who likes to figure out things for themselves. So I see so many periods where I could have cut my journey short just by going up to my mentor and asking. But for the questions that I did ask, they were very useful, and those were answers that I could never find on Google. So yeah, a mentor is very important, but also have community so that the entire burden of your career is not on your mentor. A mentor can connect you to opportunities, but you have to be skilled. And to build that skill, it lies on you to develop yourself based on what you see in the community, not based on troubling your mentor for every single thing.
Yeah, I like that you cleared that bit. Very important. And when you talk about communities, you're talking about virtual communities like Facebook communities, LinkedIn communities, right?
Yes.
Awesome. And for me, I am big on community, and that is why House of Wisdom is big on community, because I know the power of community. I wouldn't be where I am now without a community. We wouldn't even be speaking without a community. Something has brought us together, and so get communities, stay in those communities, look for opportunities, and become the very best version of yourself. Now, before we round off, I want to ask, how did you deal with payment issues? Because I know people are coming up and they'll be like, we are in Africa, we are in Nigeria, payment issues. Please, let's delve into that in a bit before we close this conversation.
That was a big one. In fact, that was my biggest headache. It made me turn around and around and around for years because
Wow.
you'd open a PayPal account and a few months later they closed it. All your money is gone. Like
Yes.
It was really tough. If you have the funds, the easiest thing to do is to set up a corporate a company in the US and have a corporate account using that company details, and just like you have that US bank account, and your clients are just paying you normally how they'll pay a US based person. That's the easiest route. If you have the money, it costs somewhere between 300 to 500 depending on who you're using, right? The second best option is to open a domiciliary account. The time I started using a domiciliary account, I don't know if it would have worked earlier in my career, but by the time I started using it, I had enough leverage. My work was unique enough. I had this portfolio. So I could say, clients, you're going to pay me directly by deposit into my international bank account. Before then, I used services like Payoneer. The trouble with Payoneer is that I think you need to have received like $5,000 first before you can issue an invoice. I'm not sure how it works. I know there was a time I heard something like that. Luckily for me, because of the foundation I had as a blogger, I used to receive my payments directly from sites like Amazon and all that to Payoneer, which was why I was able to get to that 5,000. I don't know if that rule is still in place now, but if it's not, that's a good option. Oh, Wise. Wise is also a great option. At a point, Wise was no longer sending money to Nigeria, but I think they've resumed now. So those are the things
Awesome.
that I know that work now. I know Gray.co. I've used it a bit in the past. Don't do any
Awesome.
PayPal thing. There are ways that work. I still have a PayPal account that I've been running for so many years. But any slight thing that is out of the typical transaction, whatever that you've been having, is gone.
I like that bit of advice on this PayPal thing. If you can run away from it and there are other options, please use them. And she's listed some options that you can use. And now we have a question from Samuel Ekele before you run off. What is the difference between
Okay, so SEO is search engine optimization. It means taking a page, a website, a file, whatever it is that lives online, and adding signals to it that search engines can pick up for a certain keyword or topic. So that's things like adding, say you want to rank the best copywriting agency. It's things like adding copywriting agency to your header, to your images, all those things, so that search engines can pick up that, oh, this article is talking about copywriting, or this Google file or whatever it is about copywriting. Now, copywriting is not the same thing as content writing. Many content writers will never have to write a single page of copy in their lives. A jack of all trades, like a master of none. Copy is usually used when you want to sell. So maybe a sales page or a landing page, selling anything, even if it's a free thing. The job of copywriting is to convince someone to buy into something that you're selling them, whether it's free or paid or whatever.
awesome?
Does that
Thank
answer your question?
Samuel Ekele, let's know if that answers your question. But let me ask one more question before I let you go. And the last question would be, what do you say to someone who is new on this? Would be your advice to that kind of person?
I'm sorry, you cut up for a second for me.
Is what would
Hello?
you say to someone who is new on this beat and he's overwhelmed, he or she is overwhelmed and almost giving up? What would be your advice to this kind of person?
I think just start practicing, like practicing anything at all. If you learn something, there's so much to learn. And if you keep on learning without implementing, you will either feel overwhelmed, or you come out feeling like you know everything, but when it's time to apply it, you don't actually. So my advice would be, the minute you learn something, you could start like a free blog on Medium or whatever and start applying. The second thing is to find community. And in communities, find people that are on the same journey as you are, the same level as you are, or people who are slightly ahead. Those people who are slightly ahead will be like, oh, bros, I was here yesterday. Oh, don't worry. In the next 3 months now, this is what I did. This is what I did, right? Stuff like that.
Okay, awesome. So somebody is here. Samuel Ekele says he's satisfied with your response. Then Larry Olasinde comes back to say, I'm an SEO content producer. I want to learn the strategy side of SEO. I already got Mark Williams' course, but there's also RF's own SEMrush and HubSpot courses. Which would you recommend I take first?
So I haven't been through I don't think I've been through any of those courses. And I'm a big advocate for practice over like experimenting over learning. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but I think you understand what I'm saying. So whichever course you do pick, I'm sure there is value in each and every one of them. I think Mark Williams' course who's Mark Williams? The person from Kando, right? His course is the tech SEO course, is it not? So it's going to have different content from the SEMrush course, from the HealthSpot course, from the RS course. For each one of them, you go through and you pick stuff that you can apply. Pick stuff and apply it immediately. Stuff that you apply, you never lose it again. But if you're just going through courses and learning, you find out that what you have is textbook knowledge. When it comes to practical, you cannot remember. You get. So you can do all of the courses, but do it one at a time. Choose any one. You learn something important from it. You learn something important from it. The most important part is to start practicing immediately. You can use $40 or something to buy web hosting and start practicing on a dummy site. You could ask your current clients, oh, do you need help with creating briefs? Um, and move up from there. I actually did a webinar with Sarah from what's the name of that? I don't know if you know her. That's Sarah that be a B2B right no B2B Writing Institute. Sarah from B2B Writing Institute about moving from
I know
writing to
her.
content strategy. Yeah, if you search online, you should be able to find it. It talked about ways that you could move up slowly into content strategy from writing.
Awesome, awesome. I love that. Pastor Sese has a question for you. What course for newbies trying to get into freelancing without experience? And Larry says is yes, right from Kando.
Okay, what advice? Yes, that's the one, B2BWI. What advice for newbies trying to get into freelancing without experience? What part of freelancing? Freelance writing. Almost everyone starts without experience. So the thing is, start practicing, start writing, building your portfolio. Like, even if no one is paying you to write, have like one or two pieces that you've written that you can easily show. From there, you could use them to land guest posts on. If you were here at the beginning of the stream, I talked about how to strategically guest post in order to meet your goals. So you could use guest posts also to try to land clients on LinkedIn, Twitter, and stuff like that. What I would advise a newbie is spend less time posting and more time connecting with people. So, like, go to people's posts and leave thoughtful comments, engage them intellectually, make sure they remember you, go to their inboxes and try to talk more with them, right? Stuff like that. You could post like once in a week, and whatever you post, I really wanted to share this concept. So people hire people who are worthy, who they feel like, oh, this person is worthy. So you need to have this put together brand on LinkedIn that says, oh, I may be new at this, but it doesn't mean that I'm not an expert at it. So that means you're sharing things from your processes that is that people can learn from. So each post you put out there, especially as a newbie, I don't know. that so many people build up their audience and then it feels like they're slacking. They're sharing memes, sharing like silly things with no more useful things. And you with your small account, you want to go and copy them. No. In that beginning, even if you're posting just once in a week, let it be something that when someone stumbles on, they'll be like, oh, this person has a lot of knowledge. And then spend the majority of your time connecting with other people.
I love that. I love that concept. Very important. Instead of all these post daily advice that we hear on LinkedIn, develop, build relationships. Very, very important. And also show your expertise. Another thing I'm coming away with from this conversation is that everything is figurative. From what you've just said, you try to figure things on your own, and everything is figuratable. Sorry, there's this book by Marifolio with that title, and everything, practically everything is figuratable if you commit to it, and also commit to implementation. Over learning, whatever you learn, quickly implement so that it will become a part of you. Before I let you off, please, how do you handle invoicing? Because someone is on this live stream who is like, I don't even know how to invoice. My client has asked for an invoice, and I don't know how to. How do you handle that aspect of this business?
I still use Google Sheets. I have a template on Google Sheets that I duplicate for every client and just change up stuff, print it out as a PDF and send to them. Even now, when my banking software and everything has fancy whatever with reminders, I still use Google Sheets. The only time I use my banking software is when I know that, oh, this client may not pay on time. So I set reminders. After one day, it will tell you, it will go and remind him automatically, look, bill or so and so amount is going to be added, right? So Google Sheets to PDF is perfect for, in fact, some brands, big brands like SEMrush, for example, Zapier, they need you to send them a PDF that is formatted as Google Sheets. So you don't need to stress yourself about using any fancy software for invoicing.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. So keep it simple, stupid. Don't overcomplicate issues. Okay, so we've got comments by Damlare who says, thank you, Lily. And you've already answered her. Great webinar. Thanks, Lily and Iyabo, for hosting this. And also thank you for joining Damlare and everyone on this call. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. And Lily, how can people connect with you online? Samuel Ekele says, good stuff, great value, thanks. So how can people connect with you online? And if you've got a last shot, please go ahead.
Okay, so I'm at lilyugbaja on all platforms, Twitter, LinkedIn, and I have a newsletter that is supposed to be like a monthly thing, but I haven't written in a year. I'm still trying to, I'm actually trying to put out the next issue, and it's going to be wonderful. It's at marketingcyborg.com. I actually recommend everyone go read the single issue newsletter that is on there to really help with your writing.
I am subscribed to that newsletter, and I can say it's top notch. Thank you for all you do. Appreciate your time this afternoon. It's been worth it. And I know that people who have joined us have gained one or two things that will boost their freelance writing business this year. Thank you so much. And I hope if we have to call you for another session, you will say yes to us. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Do have a fantastic midweek. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so thank you so much for all of you that joined us. And if you are watching the replay, I want you to know that we want to know where you are joining us from. And so let's know where you are joining us from. Let's give you a warm virtual hug. And if you are yet to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button, because we love you and we want the very best for you. And like I always say, we've got a string of conversations coming your way this year. We no go agree, sorry. We don't go agree, as in we want this year to count, and it will definitely count. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking out the time with us. We love you. We appreciate you. Enjoy your day and share this video with people who will benefit from it. Thank you. And Damilare says, we sure have. Yes. Good stuff. Great value. Samuel Kelly, thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye to everyone. And don't forget that we've got another edition this Friday with Josephine Ubani. The title of that conversation is Toot Your Horn, how to master the art of self-promotion. Most of us don't like to promote ourselves. And you can see Lily talk about that, promoting yourself, very important. And so Josephine Obani is an expert in that. And she's going to educate us 12 noon on Friday. Don't miss it. The link is right on this our channel. Go to the live tab and subscribe to be notified. God bless you. Thanks for watching. And I love you. Bye-bye.